Good morning to the directors and all consultants. This is a presentation for Mixed Residential Development Proposal at Pandan by Akipro. My name is George and I will guide you through this presentation. As we can see from this mapping, the site is situated in close proximity to a vast green landscape, which is becoming sparse in the city due to ongoing development. It is also uniquely positioned near the water body, creating a unique opportunity for residential settlement, benefiting, for example, from boat ownership for future water commute, as well as lush green landscapes surrounding the site. This is a perfect opportunity to adopt a project that brings the residents closer to the nature and natural habitats, adopting biophilic philosophy for building design, a design that connects and aligns individual users of the building with the nature. This is in line with reinforcing the name of the site, Pandan, a leaf that is so important to the Malaysian culture and identity. Now, moving on to the site size is 3.86 acre, which is roughly 39,000 meters square. Site is with a plot ratio of 1:6, allowing for roughly 3,500,000 square meters of potential development. The design party begins with a setback of 12 meters along these two boundaries, with the main access to the site positioned at the corner of the site. Commercial space is positioned alongside Jalan Kiambang with green square at the front of it, creating the visible entry point for the visitors and for the residents. 6 floors of car parking space are required, with 2 ramps and 2 guardhouses are proposed. This has a direct correlation to phase 1 and 2 of this development, rather substantial development. Coming onto the podium, the blocks are arranged in such layout to allow for pockets of space, distributing the activities along the podium, with swimming pool on one end overlooking the green square, clubhouse in the center of the space, green walkway, the parade leading residents to the gym and barbecue space, as well as residents' green terrace, which is an idea that stems from precedent study which will be shown in a minute. There are 4 blocks consisting of 2 blocks with 45 floors and 2 blocks consisting of 55 floors of development. Concluded with the connection of the podium down to the ground floor via cascading hanging terrace gardens, which is featuring in Park Regent project, which we have studied as a precedent to illustrate our idea and the concept. We can see here how a user might navigate down through the beautiful and unique landscape design, potentially connecting outer public with the development's podium cafe, making it partly public space within the development, as well as connecting the residents with the lush nature and green landscapes within the development. There are 4 blocks housing roughly 968 units, creating a total of 3,072 units. A potential for development of the roof space with amenity spaces up there for each of the blocks. For example, housing seating spaces with view framing and shading canopies for the residents to enjoy the views in a shaded, controlled environment. Design of the facade will be developed with a conceptual driving idea relating to pandan leaf wrapping. The massing and positioning of the blocks allows for excellent cross-ventilation. The positioning of the blocks allows for unobstructed views from most of the units within the blocks. The project lends itself easily to be constructed in 2 phases, phase 1 and phase 2. Moving on to the plans, we can see ingress to the site leading down to guardhouse number 1, and the other way, ingress to guardhouse number 2. Those are the main two access points to the buildings, with the green square at the front of the building with rather big business units that together with the square could house the commercial food and restaurants businesses. This is a draft version of the visual for the entry point, with the businesses to the side and the green square, as well as the main entry for the residents and the guardhouse in here. This plan is illustrating the efficiency of car parking, utilizing the space under the cascading green landscape gardens. So coming on to this idea and explanation of it, this is option 1, where we can see the users can slowly walk down and enjoy the green gardens, spaces and the views, sporadically taking a seat on one of the benches, one of the sitting areas along the way, or any other form of landscape resting furniture, eventually reaching the ground where additional seats are located and a form of a parade walkway is introduced. The spaces behind are still utilized for the car parking space in this option. Here is an option 2. Option 2, where those spaces could be turned into further commercial spaces, such as shops or other amenities, restaurants, accessed from the bottom and on each level via the staircase, like that, culminating with the street parade and landscaping at the ground level. Here, the car parking won't be exceeding into these spaces. However, it is a small number of car parking spaces that can be housed under there. So lastly, this option could coexist with both options. This design proposal could coexist with those two options, and it's basically introducing a amphitheater style arrangement of sitting that can be built during or for the events such as small performances, community shows, gatherings and other functions, with a stage at the bottom and seats all the way from floor 1, 2, 3 and 4, drawing attention to the stage from all corners, a bit like the amphitheater. So this could flexibly be put into place for events and be used by the community or by the public. Let me also draw your attention to the coping design, in which I am looking at a concept that comes from pandan leaf wrapping and the food. So we can see these lines projecting over in a form of small arch, kind of reminiscing of the pandan leaf wrapping. A podium drawing illustrates the pool, the walkway, the main parade, as well as the clubhouse that can be potentially accessed both by the residents from this side and by the public from this side, using the green cascading walkway, entering through the main garden and using the cafe, which would potentially limit access to the rest of the podium facilities, but allow the access to use of this space. There's a barbecue pit, a play area, and a gym. All of these amenities are separated from each other, so with the volume of residents of this development, the dispersal of people will actually make sense to let them use different facilities in different zones, so it doesn't get too overcrowded. So this is the sort of original first view, concept view of the space. We can see here actually the beginning of the idea for the buffer zone that is created for those ground floor units. So the garden behind some landscaping and a wall, and then swimming pool quite close to the entry out to the garden. So it becomes more private and secluded from this podium. The typical block floor plan consists of 22 units per floor of total development, resulting in 50 floors of development and 968 units per block with a total of 3,872 units and a roughly 2,000 square meters of commercial space. This is with the breakdown of roughly 14% of studios, 28% of 2 beds, as well as 60% of 3 beds, resulting in parking requirement and actually provision of a requirement of 4,304 spaces and provision of excess of 239 spaces before the M&E provisions are made. And this nicely leads me to showcasing some of the conceptual massing visuals that we have created for this project. Here we can see the permeability of the scheme, as well as the adherence and almost feeling of growth from the site with the cascading garden facing the motorways, promoting the design and amenity provision by KSL and cohesion with the nature for the residents of this particular development. Here we can see the green heart of the development that will draw interest into this zone and provide rather nice, strong aesthetic to the building's overall look. Seen from down the Tebrau Highway, it stands as a strong manifest of what KSL is all about, providing great accommodation and housing with amenities to its clients. I'd like to thank you for your time, and we would love to hear your comments and progress this project further together. Thank you.